Hey folks, RB here. So before we head into the weekend, just wanted to record the video on my latest thoughts and pretty much covering what happened over this short week as well. So I had this call with my Discord users in the midday when we kind of broke below 5460 and started coming down. If you remember, 5460 was a kind of a the line in the sand for bulls, that if this is a small sub 4, then 5500, 5460, that's a max level this can go down. Below that we are doing something else, right? And then there's no point of looking for the next leg up if 5460 is kind of broken, right? So let's just have a overview here on what kind of happened and what it looks like. So going back to the July action here, where we were talking about the top, when we kind of made the top here at around 5666 or around that number, and we had a major drop of about 10%, more than about 10% in that particular month, in 2 to 3 weeks, in 3 weeks, and then we caught that kind of bottom there, and we started talking about this wave up, right? Our initial thought had been that, okay, if this ABC has completed the overall correction of wave 4, which we were tagging as wave 4, then we are looking at maybe a major wave 5 building up here, right? So now, for the wave 5, we were looking for 5 waves, and we were counting it as one, two, probably three, four, and a 5 going. Now, argument could be that, did the wave 5 got truncated here? There is a small possibility that the wave 5 got truncated here, and then we got a sell off as an A, B, and C, which can go up to 61%, right? So right now we are reaching about 50% here. 60% is 5300, right? So for next week, I mean, the basic or the big levels to watch for would be around this demand zone. Now let me just remove these fib ratios. Basically, this is the demand zone that we are looking at, right? So in my last Substack post, I shared about 5400 and below that as 5370, right? So this is what I was looking at, this area, that if we start going below 5500, then 5460, and then after that 5400 and 5370, right? So those are the levels that we were looking at. Now if this fifth got truncated here, yeah, we can look at this as an ABC, right? And can say, oh yeah, this was a truncation, and now probably we start going up again, right? That thought stays there. I'm not totally against it, but I have a bigger problem when I go back into the larger time frame. And when we are looking at this, something that like this as 5 waves, and this ABC retracement, what we are looking at next is that once this completes, we are looking for further move up, which means that the wave 4 was complete here. Let me just show you what a wave 4 really means by going to the daily chart. And that's what we're looking at from this sub perspective, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, right? So this is the fourth wave we were talking about when the drop happened in July, and we know that the wave fours are complex. So uh, in my early videos in late July, when we were bottoming out somewhere here, we talked about that this could be just an A leg. We have a B, and we could have a C down there as well, right? So that was one thought, but then we kind of also started talking about that probably this was done, and this is now making up this another wave up, right? So these are the things that we have talked in the past, that okay, wave 4 can be ABC, WXY, making more complex corrections. Now it's kind of getting into that state where either we are going to spend time in this wave 4. If I clear this chart up, right, and say that okay, this was wave 4, um and this is basically spending time here in wave 4. like it did here in this wave two, and then after that we'll see a rally up again, right? So that's one model, and the other model, like I shared early in this call, where you are just doing a one two, and then you have a three four five coming up later on, right? So what is my a reasonable doubt that we probably will not get something like this, like a more bullish wave up, is because of some of the heavy weekly divergences that we are seeing here, right? A real loss of momentum, waves getting shorter and shorter in size, right? So what I would want to see is that ideally that this wave 4 takes time, like I explained, and now flushes off this basically this divergence. When it means flushes off, the wave for drops generally drops the RSI pretty quickly, and it doesn't have to go oversold. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at a test of the previous low, which was here somewhere, right? And that's kind of support that I'm looking at from this perspective. And once it does that on a weekly perspective, this pretty much flushes this whole divergence out, right? And this is a weekly time frame, and if I look into the daily time frame, you see that we have some room to go and make the daily oversold, which is pretty good. So if daily goes oversold, and I let's say I do these as five waves down, calling this as an ABC flat, right? And if I'm doing this probably will give me an oversold, probably a little bit of a divergence here and all that, once it's doing this last move down, something like this. Let me do this. So let's say we bounce a little, go down more, and then we do this, right? So a wave down like this as a C wave, as an impulse of a flat, right? It could be equal lows, it could be a little lower, it could be much lower till 49.21 or something like that, right? So that's something we will see as this wave progresses. But all what we are looking at then is that, on the daily side, we get oversold, we get a little bit of a bounce. Let me just try to align it here. Right? Once we go like this, we get push down, we get a little bit bounce there, and a little bit of divergence for a wave five, and then the rally starts again, and we get a rally, from here, right? So something like that. So this is what I would want to see for a flat to happen, which will give me this whole wave four, which will be kind of comparable in time to the last correction, which started somewhere in July. This time we started a little early in the July, and that one ended somewhere late October. This one can end early October, right? So pretty much the same time. If I see the correction here started in mid of July, here the correction started in the last week of July. So that was like 3 months, and here could be again 11 to 12 weeks, right? If we are looking at that, so it can end somewhere October first week or maybe October second week, depending on how much time it takes to get there, right? So that would give me equal time for this correction as well, and then we can start building up the fifth wave up, right? So that's that. So right now I covered two scenarios of as of now, which is like the first one was that if this is one two three four five, right? I have my doubts about that, so I'm not gonna be very very solidly bullish, buying these dips in here. I would be instead looking for some sort of move up, and I'll talk about those levels when I talk about moving up. And then based on how things are, the kind of action, and the looking at overall other tickers and all that, probably I'm gonna be taking a shot. And I think when I'll talk about levels, looking at the SPX chart as well, I think 5560, or if there is no strength, then 5480. Those are like two levels which I'm looking at, from a bounce perspective. So let's say 5370 bounces, which is like I explained, this demand zone. If this bounces, right, then I'm all what I'm looking at is coming back to this area, right? Coming back to this area, and this area basically talks about either being yeah 55 50 60 area, right, or the lower edge will be somewhere around 5480, right? So coming back into this supply zone from after making this bounce, this could be considered as the wave one completion per se, which would be like one, two, three, four, five, and then we have a bounce. And once we have a bounce, we are looking at potentially, like I said, 54, 80, 55, 60. Look at some of these projections from the fib standpoint, based on where it kind of holds. Let's say it holds 5328 or 5370. So around in that area, you see that 5480 and 5550, they will be somewhere around in the 50 to 60% retracement ratio, right? So that's what I'm looking at. That in the next week, when we have CPI on Wednesday, either we complete this drop on Monday and Tuesday quickly, we rally with CPI or pre CPI rally, something like that, a sharp move up, getting into 50%, 60%, something like that. And from there, based on the structure and the price movement, we can look at some shorts, and those shorts will be for the larger wave three, right? So the larger wave three will drag this down either to the double bottom, and then we can have a wave four bounce here, right? And then probably a wave five dip here, like I explained before, right? So this is kind of what my primary path is. But I gave you an option that how a bull wave can look like. But again, like I'm not in that formation. We were never in that formation before. All we were looking for was just a one wave high last week when we were preparing to 5740 and so, and we were expecting then a correction up to until 5300 at that point of time, but this has come in faster than that. So I would like to give it some time to for this to form and give clarity. So something very similar to what has happened here, if you see, right? So we had one sell, a little smaller bounce like here, and then another sell off, then a bounce, then a sell off, right? So kind of a five waves down, right? And after those five waves down, we got a three wave up, and then another five waves down, right? So that was kind of a zigzag that we got here. And right now, all what we're looking at is to complete these five waves and then a bounce back up. So this probably, let's see, how much was this as a bounce? Probably 50%, if not more. Yeah, exactly 50%, right? So that's what we are looking at. So 5490, 5480, 5500 area maybe at the max. So that could be a good spot for the next set of shots to start adding on or building a position up there, right? And that's what I've shared for some of the things like Apple and Tesla on Twitter as well. That what we are looking at is five waves down, specifically here for Apple, where we had this three waves down for all these five waves up, which was 50%, and the next one can either do 50% or can either do 61% as well, right? So small pop and drop and pop, they have an event as well. I took some December puts, just started. If it kind of dips and rips once more again, probably I'll add some more, and then we are looking at drop post that. Looking at something like this, right? So these are the things that kind of are going in my mind right now onto what can be traded next week based on what we got this week, right? First of all, I mean, what we got was totally unexpected. Like I said, we were hoping for a rally. That didn't happen. Then we were hoping for 5500 to hold. That didn't happen. Neither did the 5460 held as well, right? So this is the first drop which is forming. Let it form. We missed it, that's fine. Then, like I said, I mean, once we get here, we'll see if we are getting these five wave structures right, completing, and then can probably do some bounce play for CPI. Or if you don't want to do any of that, the only thing that we'll be looking at doing is that, okay, let this whole thing shape up as a lower low and a higher low, and then we can look at basically taking the shots for the next step down. That could be a next good trade that can come out of this whole way, right? And that will be like the biggest one because that's a wave three down. Right, so that's the plan, and I'll share the whole other indexes in the Substack, and what Bitcoin is doing, what all other Mag 7 stocks are doing, what other lower side buy target looks like, and what kind of wave structures looks like. So stay tuned. More to come on that, but I thought I'll just give an update on what I covered today with my Discord subs in the midday, and what my thoughts would be to go into the next week. So hopefully it helps. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.